A panel discussion that will talk about securing your data kingdom, building the ultimate fortress. So here we are. We'll let the experts do the talk rather than me doing the context setting. So without any ado, really, I'm going to be inviting our session chair, Mangesh Mahale, the Chief Technology Officer at Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Please welcome Mangesh with all the good energies. You all are the best of the friends here, so I'm sure I will have more blast hosting this summit for sure. Warm welcome, Mangesh. Thank you very much. You know that when there are like just 30 seconds left, I'll come to you, I'll say something in your ears, which everybody knows, which is like we need to wrap up in time. So I'm creating that pressure. Thank you. Let's also welcome our very loved panelists, of course, the experts there. Can we have Abhijit Chakravarty, the Executive Vice President, Networks and Cybersecurity at Kotak Mahindra Bank. Please welcome Abhijit with good round of cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gearing up for literally a super packed agenda, so we should be good at the energy level. Thank you, Abhijit, for joining us. Can we have Neha, Anand, the Head of Cyber at Prudent Insurance Brokers. Neha, hi, and thank you for joining us. Can I please have, of course, the very well-known Vinod Sivarama, Krishnan, the Chief Digital and Information Officer at Essar. The always leading one, I would like to call him. Yogesh Parvate, the Vice President Presales at BDA Infosolutions. Yogesh, there you are. I love that walk. I swear I love that walk on the stage. Thank you. And Mangesh, with that, I would rather seal my lips and hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So today we are going to discuss about the data. So as you know, data nowadays, it has become like people say it is a new oil, or some people say it is a very currency basically. So we are going to discuss on data. So panels are quite senior. They are having a lot of experience in this field, security field. So as you know, earlier this conference used to happen on kind of smack like social media, mobility, analytics, cloud. Now, slowly, it has shifted to basically AI and data. So, today we are having this data conference. So, we are going to touch upon certain aspects of this data, like what is the top-down approach to secure our data, then what should be the strategy, basically strategy to protect our data. And then, of course, this new AI, actually AI is used for the good purpose also, and as well as these hackers and adversaries, they are also using AI for attacking the various organizations. So that also we will touch on that AI point. So as you know, the data evolved from basically OLTP. That time, earlier it was very in silos actually. It was not connected actually. Our organizations were using data in silos. Then slowly it has gone to the internet. Internet also, earlier it was a very small, basically non-critical data was there in the internet. And slowly it has gone to the e-commerce, and then now all these banking applications and various other applications where data can be accessed publicly with a proper authentication, but still there is a chance that this data can be compromised. So with me, we have a panel, Abhijit Chakravarty from Kotak Mahindra Bank. He's the AVP there. So I'll start with Abhijit with you. So you are a security expert basically. So to enhance our overall security posture for the data, so what is the top-down strategy adopted in Kotak Mahindra Bank? Because Kotak Mahindra is one of the largest bank in the country, and you must be processing number of transactions, crores of transactions, and lakhs of accounts are getting open. So how people are trusting in Kotak Mahindra, how their data is secured in Kotak Mahindra?
So a couple of things, in fact. So one piece of it is that how do you secure data? Right now, you've got to understand what is the source of data, where is it being stored, who's accessing the data. Whilst accessing the data, what can a user do with the data? Right? What can the process that you can process the data for? I think so. So typically, if you look at it, very simply put, data in transit, data at rest, and data in use. I think majorly data in transit, which is data in motion, and data at rest. I think these two are pretty well addressed. I think in majorly all organizations. I think the challenge today, and for an organization, is the data in use. Why? Because you've got a lot of data that a third party accesses. See, when you talk about risk, you talk about external threats, you talk about internal threats also, right? Now, when I'm accessing the data, what amount of control do I exercise? I think that's where is the challenge, right? I don't think there is a very easy answer to this. You can have a lot of controls, you can have a lot of algorithms, you can use a lot of AI to check behavior, etc. and all. But data in use, I think, continues to be a challenge by my standards. Yeah, thanks.
But then how, see, even regulators is more, they are having a comprehension about this data, or they are trying to secure this data. They are giving a lot of, means they are issuing a lot of circulars how to protect the data. So for, like you mentioned, data in use or data in transit. So like we have other data kind of thing. So whether any masking, those kind of.
All those, yeah, so that's where I said, so data at rest, I think mostly is taken care of. So again, there I guess the challenge is, I think first the organizations thought that let me encrypt and mask the data on one particular database, okay? Now you've done that. Now what if that database is also accessed by some other application? Okay, what if a subset of the database has to sit outside your network? I think that's where is the challenge. So having visibility of where your PII data lies and spread across which zones, it can be data centers, it can be clouds, it can be even third-party data centers, not sure where they are, right? Capability to able to detect the data, categorize, classify, and then mask the data, right? And obviously, you got to be, so this is one piece of the story. The larger piece of the story is in operations. When you are kind of operating with that data, what is the amount of visibility and control that you have? Do you know who's using that data? What has it done with that data? What if someone has tried to modify that data? I think those controls are challenging again. I'm not saying not doable, but definitely are challenging.
Okay. So I'll come to Neha. So like I mentioned, this now AI is a buzzword actually. So even hackers or this adversaries, they are also using AI for basically to get the data in an unauthorized way. So how your organization are prepared, how your organization is prepared for this kind of AI-based attacks basically.
So, thank you for that question. Now, just to start with, see, phishing, just to give set the context also, phishing has been the oldest trick out of the book as far as any cyber attacks have been concerned. And now with AI, the transition of late has been that any phishing mail, now that looks so credible. And coming from the insurance world, we have a lot of clients for whom we are, protecting, offering this insurance. And so many losses of late. That is what I can tell you that are getting reported, because now these phishing mails have become so credible, so authentic, that it's very, very difficult to differentiate what is real and what is not. So having said that, phishing mails, deep fakes, this is the reality. And in tandem, there are a lot of controls, and Abhijit just mentioned that there can be controls in place. A lot of them have been implemented, but still these incidents are happening. So what do you do? And what we start with is go back to the basics, create awareness. And it is not still being done enough, and I'm talking about across the spectrum of enterprises that we deal with, educating customers, educating your employees, because still what is happening, 75% of all the incidents that happen are because of internal issues, internal employees falling prey to such scenarios. Now, how to deal with these deep fakes and phishings. See, one thing is there, so there are a lot of solutions out there. And there are so many feeds. The InfoSec team is dealing with day in, day out. I mean, I have a 2-year-old son, so the analogy I can put out is, I mean, cyber security or the CISOs are trying to protect a balloon. The hacker is standing with the pin out there. So it's like the CISOs have to be right 100 times every time, and for the hacker it is just one time. And the moment they're able to prick it, burst, there it goes. So educating, and you have to create that awareness. Secondly, use that AI to your advantage. So as I was mentioning about thread feeds, what now all those thread feeds, what actually can cause an impact. So filter out those thread feeds using the AI. And now this is being done in various parts of the globe. Filter out those AIs and quantify those thread feed, that what it actually means, because all those logs and EDRs and alerts and prompts are there. So that is just one part. How do you actually filter it and sieve it out, that what is going to impact and quantify? So I think AI, there is an advantage to it also. It's being used by threat actors, it's being used by the business team to exponentially increase their businesses, but at the same time, on the cybersecurity side, it has a lot of usage to go. Long way, still getting implemented, but I still feel that there's a lot of work that's going around, and companies are working towards it.
Like board and these business verticals, they basically they try to give they try to inform that they need to release their applications or their customizations well in advance so that they will get the early bird benefit. So whether you are giving certain relaxation in security, or you will wait for all the observations or security compliance is there, then only you will release those kinds of.
I think that's the part where business and cybersecurity, they have to work in silos. This was, I mean, it's still being done after so many incidents happening. They still continue to work in silos. Cybersecurity is just not a CISO or a CTO's topic. It's an organization issue. They have to, and I completely agree, the business team wants to get everything digitized, leverage, and get the maximum out for the customers and gain more customers. But that can't come at the fag end, that once the product is about to get launched, and that is when the cybersecurity team is rolled in. It has to be there at the very onset. They have to work hand in hand together. I mean, I see a lot of things, I mean, organizations, in fact, for us, to be honest, for us also, once the contract, everything has been set in place, the product is there, the OEM has been finalized, there are many times after that we're going to the infosec or the security or the compliance that, okay, now you do your bit. That's not how it's going to happen. It has to be there. These securities guys have to be there at the very start.
Okay, thank you, Neha. Welcome to Vinod. Actually, basically he's playing other role. He's not from the security. He's a chief digital and information officer from Essar. So, see, earlier data was not there. Now so much data is there. So, but to protect the data, we should have a proper design and architectures so that the data should be safe in our organization. So I would like to ask you, Vinod, with your given this thing experience, so how do you balance these changes with regulatory compliance, and how do you design this, basically design and architecture?
First of all, it's setting a CIO in a security panel is like setting the cat among the pigeons, and somehow I see that the two of us have boxed in Neha and Abhijit. I'm sure that was not intentional, but no, I just wanted to say that first of all, some great points, and I think Neha, what you said about security being involved right from the beginning is pretty much what I'm going to say. See, if you look at architecture, my concept of architecture from a technology point of view has always been like train tracks. You lay the tracks, the train has to go there. Otherwise, it derails. Unfortunately, that clarity that you get from the train tracks is really forcing a lot of choices in a security community. Restricts your options available because you've taken a particular architectural path. And that architectural path says then that now I can't be as flexible. Now I can't layer security on top of that architecture because it's already made. That path is already there. So I think, it's very important when you look at architecture and design also in a very similar way. That, everybody says the best security is security by design, which is, you're saying, look, I don't know which element is going to be required to protect, but I need to have the ability to protect an element. Otherwise, if you look at it, when I say, okay, I'm going to encrypt the entire database, everybody understands the cost of encryption. And if I were to say that 80% of that cost is redundant, but I don't know which 80%, which is the challenge that these guys face when we go up there and ask for huge budgets from management. So I think, you have to really look at security by design. You have to really look at architecture that provides those hooks for us to hang the security on. And if that means that you have to start all over again and make certain choices as you contemporize your infrastructure, then you have to do that. There's no easy answer around it. Plus, you added a very important point on regulatory compliance, which is initially the regulators just told you what outcomes they wanted. This is what should happen. Now, increasingly, you are hearing how it should happen. And I'm sure there will be a time when we will get even more detailed than that. Now, again, coming back to the original point, you cannot do that unless you have a design and architecture that actually supports these capabilities. Otherwise, you are going to end up with having to do something ridiculously complex in order to achieve regulatory compliance, and that's not sustainable at an organization level or, indeed at an ecosystem level. So I think, the key point is to get it right by design. Modularity, flexibility, these are words that have become bad words in the context of architecture, but in the context of security, you can't do without them.
Thank you. So I will come to Yogesh. Actually, he's representing VDA. He's a solution integrator. Basically, these people are happy when this security kind of investment comes from the organizations. Basically, each organization has to secure their own data. So security OEMs and the solution integrators are, they come and they also give a various kind of cyber solution strategy. So I want to ask Yogesh. So what is your recommendation or what is your thought on this cyber solution strategy, basically?
Right. First, thank you for this opportunity and this question. We always keep discussing about the cyber securities and various aspects of how do we try to ensure that our data is secure by deploying a lot of things out there in our environment. Like almost all the companies do have secure web gateways, CASBs, firewalls, XDRs, EDRs out there. Okay. Many times we have seen that we focus too much on cyber security, but we don't, focus on cyber resiliency or cyber recovery. In case of attack happens, what is the way so that I can quickly roll back to business as usual? Because we have seen there had been instances wherein the attacks happen. And at times we have been seeing that people says that we have a DR or we have a BCP out there. Okay. But probably, that is actually adding to more of a problem because ultimately cyber attacks are targeted attacks, which actually propagates directly to your DR sites as well. And many times it has been observed that by the time we go to the DR sites, that is already compromised, because that is already many times a passive site. So how quickly we can recover our data back to business, that is very critical. We need to ensure that we do isolation of that particular data. We need to understand that what is our critical data, what are the crown jewels, which we need to protect. That would come from the data classification, which is the most critical data. Probably many times we say that OLTP applications and databases are the most critical ones. That's true. But what if we lose domain controllers, access controls? We can't access the data. Although database is up and running. Okay. So we need to ensure that that is isolated, that data is immutably protected, and also there is some intelligence built in so that the backups which we are doing at, probably a cyber vault site kind of an environment, which has an intelligence to understand the images which are been, kept there to give us some kind of report says that these images are good to be recovered so that in case of some attack happens, those can be quickly rolled back and we can just get back to our business as usual. So cyber security and cyber resiliency, cyber recovery is also a very important aspect that actually is covered in, NIST's framework of identify uh, and recover and response. So it is recovery is something very important with respect to the cyber security.
Good, good. I think time is almost over. Shall I ask half-minute question?
We can just take a one from the audience. I'm so sorry, but maybe we'll continue the conversations offline then. And we'll also request any of the audience member who asks question to please introduce and maybe ask just one question. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dave Kalyan. I'm from Morgan Stanley. So, a question to Neha, right? You spoke about cyber threats and how AI can thwart it. But one thing that I've noticed in my org is that we are still, stuck to the primitives. If you think about it, the cloud and stuff like that, right? So how do you see the AI progressing? Because right now, none of the AI technologies that are there, they essentially do proactive monitoring or threat detection. So where do you see it going? Do you see any major players in the industry who are doing it right?
Thank you for that question. There's a lot of work that's going on, and you're very right that there is still a lot of primitive technology that is currently being used. And to be honest, there are a lot of companies that we interact with, they're still struggling to have a BCP plan in place, right? So the future of AI, I think in years to come, let's say, again, it's not something that is going to happen very soon, but yes, in the years to come, AI, I believe, is going to be there with respect to the prompts, right? To filter out those prompts that actually make sense to make the job of the InfoSec team much, much easier. For instance, just to give you an example, statistically, it has been proven over a matter of just 3 years to carry out a ransomware attack. In 3 years back, it used to take 100 days for a threat actor to get in and hack and whatever, do whatever. It has come down to 4 days, right? That is how they have leveraged. I think it's just a matter of time how we can, as in the industry, can leverage on AI, on all those LLMs that are there. It's also about the data that is going to be feed into that AI. We are nowhere near. I completely agree with you. We are nowhere near. It is going to take some time, but the hope, we still have hope there. That there's something good, like we have all these EDR, XDRs, now they're going to be like ancient, and then in coming years we'll have AIs. And the one thing that I hope and expect is the quantification part, that which threat makes sense, and to quantify what can be the impact. It's not just the prompt, but quantify what can be the financial impact due to a certain attack to a particular enterprise. That is where the beauty of it will lie.
So just a short follow-up question to that, right?
I'm so sorry. I'm
No worries.
really, really sorry, but we cannot take a follow-up questions for now. But trust me, we want to maximize the time for your networking. One during the tea coffee break, which we'll have after a few sessions, and of course towards the end, we will have the bigger one. We'll leave it to the moderator to please close the session.
So, it was really a good information given by all these security veterans and CIOs. So we will be available during this networking break. But the concern is like we have to protect our data, because even now this DPDP Act and there are various regulatory circulars. So we have to protect our data. We should not we should not, the data should not be leaked from all the organization, because many organizations are interconnected. So we should protect each other as an industry. We should protect our data. We should give data to the in a proper way, in a secure manner. And customer should have a trust. Customer and regulator should have a trust in the organization that their data is safe in organization. That is what.
Thank you very much. To all of you, we'll request you to please rise for a mandatory group picture. Panel, thank you again. I think what we would appreciate is the authenticity and the vulnerability of the discussion. Also, apart from the facts and figures and how does it look like when you secure the data fortress for us. So thank you for giving us a fair bit of an idea there as to how are we navigating ahead. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Mangesh, for being a very humble moderator at the same time.